Okay, welcome everyone to the State of Our Trails Summit 2022. Croeso pawb to the State of Our Trails Summit 2022. Who was here for their first State of the Trails Summit? Well, hey, and who is a returner? Excellent, lovely. So a little housekeeping before we start. In the event of a fire exit, we all go out of there. To everybody watching at home, I'm sorry, you're on your own. It worked. That's my only joke, I'm sorry, it's downhill from here. So today, we're super excited to spend the day with you. We'll start with a little bit of an intro to the summit, and then we'll have the State of Our Trails report, and then a really exciting session around Purposeful Adventure. Then we'll break for lunch, and then we've got a really exciting panel discussion on competitive collaboration and the exploration mindset. And then we'll finish off with a very exciting and so far mysterious session on Here for the Trails ecosystem emergence. So we're very excited for that. So before we get started, some very important thank yous. Thank you so much to our summit partners, Trek, Specialized, Santa Cruz, Bosch e-bike systems, the North Face, the European Outdoor Conservation Association, Komoot, Red Bull, and Bangor University, whose beautiful building we are in today. I thought we might have a few rules of the room as well, because this is a very exciting but very passionate topic for many of us. So we're going to stay positive. No yes buts, only yes ands. No finger pointing. We're not going to use the word solution. We're going to trust that people's intentions are good. And I would encourage everybody to be curious and to be a critical friend. So who am I? I'm your host for today, you lucky people. I am Elle, and I am the founder of an initiative called the School of Rocks. And we have a toolkit to empower underrepresented people to find joy in off-road cycling. So I designed a toolkit and essentially a curriculum to break down off-road cycling into essentially a blueprint for building skills, confidence, but also empowering communities to start. And it's a fantastic scalable model. And so in the first year, we launched to over 11 locations across the UK and Europe. And this year, we've launched in the US as well, which is pretty fantastic. So if anybody wants to chat about that in the break, then yeah, I would be really stoked to have any conversations. So now, the man who needs no introduction. He is the person behind the vision of Trash-Free Trails and has assembled a fantastic team of riders, runners, and roamers to protect our trails and wild spaces from single-use pollution. So without further ado, Dom Ferris.
Onwards. Where am I? Hello, who's that? Oh, hey, Glenn. We're a bit early.
Hey, Colin.
Give us a few minutes if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's Glenn. You'll see him in a minute. Yeah, so thank you, everyone, for coming. There's more people in the room than there was last year. So for me, you know, I haven't got any notes written about this opening address, as you'll probably gather in a few minutes' time, or almost immediately, I'm sure. But there's a few words that just come to mind all the time. And for me, you know, as riders, runners, and roamers, we've got a lot of handy analogies that we can use without feeling too cheesy. So for me, progress is a word that you can associate with this room, with our intentions, and with our lives as riders, runners, roamers. You know, I just caught eyes there with James Poole, professional ultra runner. You know, 300 miles recently. Yeah, so progress, one step after the other, one foot after the other. But the starting is the most difficult thing, and sometimes making the overly grand plans paralyze us into inaction. Again, I sat and listened to a wonderful session, fireside, last night at our Purposeful Adventure Festival, led by Manon Carpenter, and one of our A-Team ambassadors, Joe Shui, said, let's just do something. All right, and I know that word "just" is, I think, almost want to ban that room, we can ban the word "ban" as well. But the word "just" can be frustrating and can be a bit disempowering sometimes. But for me, it's let's make progress. So this time last year, there was 35 people. There's now more than that in this room. This time last year, we had, I'll talk about it a bit more. We had 316 data sets from citizen scientists around the world. This year, we've got 1,027. So just trying to demonstrate progress, not saying we're changing the world, just trying to demonstrate progress. So that's the challenge I'll issue this room today, is move forwards in some way. Let's move forwards both individually and together. Let's take responsibility individually and together. Another element of progress means that I've forgotten to say hello to the live stream, and I'm wondering if all of us in the room could turn around and say hello and welcome the live stream into our room with us as participants today. And the hashtag for the day, the word that I keep in my mind is that we're here for the trails. So really not a single person in this room wouldn't be here if it wasn't for trails in some way or other. What they do for us, both professionally and personally, for our well-being. So let's put them at the top of the bill. Let's put everything else aside for a day at least, and let's see what we can come up with. And again, the final one really, what the trails have done for us and what they might be able to do for others, and how we can invite them in, make them feel welcome, and actually get them in as well. So that'll be my opening address, I think. Probably forgot a million things, but the bottom line is that everyone who comes after me today is far more prepared. So that's wonderful to hear, I think. Okay, so we hand back over to Elle, and thank you to Elle as well for hosting this, holding it together.
No probs. I'm just stoked to be here. So, first up, we are here for the trails, as Dom said, and we have two absolute pioneers in this space, Manon Carpenter and Glen Jacobs, who's joining us remotely. So Glen was the first professional trail builder. He's the only Aussie to have been inducted into the Mountain Biking Hall of Fame. And Manon is call it the world's first purposeful adventurer, and will be the world's first doctor of purposeful adventure, hopefully. And the way I'm putting it is what Manon doesn't know about dirt is not worth knowing. So without further ado, I shall hand over to Glen. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me there. And looks like there's a lot of people there, and it's going to be a fun day. The first time we showed this was at the IMBA mountain bike summit in Europe, and Manon was there. It was great to read this out for everybody. Bit of a sea shanty. It's talking about trails and trail building and everything, and you should have it up on the screen there. They climbed the hill one morning. The weather, it was fair. The peak loomed above the clouds, and no one gave a care. They walked and cut and laughed that day. Their dreams, they never failed. They're out to build a mighty trail for all of us to rail. The captain said a piece of gold for those who shape me trail. So bend your backs and dig me, lads. I know that we won't fail. Bend your backs and dig me, lads. Let's build a mighty trail. Tonight we'll sing and dance, and tomorrow we can rail. We'll cut and shape the loam and dirt. No prouder crew there'll be to carve a trail that plummets from the mountain to the sea. They grabbed their tools that morning. The weather, it was grim. The shapers kept on cutting, and the batters, they did trim. So we'll build this trail ourselves, they cried. This hill won't stand a chance. The berms will ride so fast and smooth, they'll put us in a trance. The trail, it danced from root to rock. It was bigger than the sky. They raised their tools for a final push as they heard the captain cry. Bend your backs and dig me, lads. Let's build this mighty trail. Tonight we'll sing and dance, and tomorrow we can rail. We'll cut and shape the loam and dirt. No prouder folk there'll be to carve a trail that plummets from the mountain to the sea. The trail was nigh complete, then came to a sudden stop. Forbidding and unpassable was a jagged rock outcrop. The newbie rigged some dynamite and lit a faulty fuse. It blew the rock and took them too. leaving nothing but their shoes. Now 100 years have passed since the captain and his crew split the earth and cracked that rock the trail came rushing through. The trail, it goes on living, but that rock, it bears a scar. But if you ever drop that chute, a voice calls from afar. Bend your backs and dig me, lads. Let's build this mighty trail. Tonight we'll sing and dance, and tomorrow we can rail. We'll cut and shape the loam and dirt, no prouder folk there'll be to carve a trail that plummets from the mountain to the sea. It's like a little sea shanty, and a lot of trail builders sing that chorus line while they're working. And a little comical, but it's quite fun. And it says everything about trails. Next slide. Have you got that one up? Basically, we're talking about over the years, over 30 years, trail building around the world. We've came across some absolutely spectacular places, ride destinations, and there is a formula to design the perfect ride destination. The first one, you need connectivity is very important to the trail network and accommodation. The second one, have you got beautiful natural features? Third is quality trails. The fourth is like accommodation, cafes, and pubs. One of the fifth items you need is a progressive expansion. Can it expand more if it's a successful place? And the sixth is an event overlay. So these six major points, these six boxes that need ticking, is very critical to have a perfect ride destination. Next slide. I'll touch on the connectivity, how important it is. How close is your destination to airports and major public infrastructure? It could be national airports or international airports, how people can come in and out from a trail destination. When I worked for the UCI, we had a main line you drew in the sand and had to be around an hour and a half from a major airport. So people can, travel on weekends from the airport, flying in and out, or from a major township. You don't want to be traveling for 6 or 7 hours in a car. You can fly from all different parts all over the world, and you land at an airport and connect to the trail destination. No separation of culture, not spreading out too many ride centers too far away. You can have a lot of various ride centers, but as long as the main ride center has around 85 kilometers of trail, it's the main stepping off point where you can actually stay for 4 to 5 days in the one area and ride a bunch of trails. That connectivity to the population, as I said before, a major city is very important. And probably the most critical thing with the connectivity is you ride in and ride out from to the trailhead from your accommodation. And if you're out on the trail, you can swing into a cafe or a restaurant or a bike shop and shuttle companies and stuff like that. I can touch on that a bit further down the slide. But connectivity to the world and to the riding public is critical. Next slide. Very important is the natural features. That's the second one. Have you got lakes and rivers and waterfalls, escarpments, beautiful terrain, something unique to your region. You can have beaches, mountains, a little bit of outback terrain or very jungly, ecotones, something different, something not the same sort of terrain all the way through. If you've got some beautiful little valleys that have pockets of, like rainforest or tall mountains that have wonderful lookouts. That's what we as mountain bikers really love when we're out riding. And it's very important to have, these natural features to develop a trail network in. Unique native wildlife and unique species, forest and native wildlife too. And the main thing is, Instagram moments. Once a trail network gets built and designed in beautiful terrain, people will be taking photos and taking images and sending them sort of bragging rights around the world to all their friends, saying, "Hey, look where I am. I'm riding here, and it's amazing, and you should get over here as soon as you can." So, having a lookout at the top of a climb that overlooks a valley or a waterfall, or in a beautiful area, is very, very important. As you can see, that slide is actually the photo. There is these huge marble boulders. These photos are in Tasmania, in Australia, and you can ride through them. And they're the size of small apartment buildings. They're crazy. Next slide is quality trails. The trails have to be designed, and they need to be designed in the future for a sustainable industry. Our industry with trails need to be professionally designed. I think gone are the days where you may have some enthusiasts that love trails and they love mountain biking, but they may not have the information to build a sustainable trail. It's important that the trails are designed to last forever and are fully sustainable. So, and something that actually feels really good when you ride. And on that slide there, we've got 85 kilometers plus tipping point. There is a thing called a tipping point. A trail destination should have around 85 kilometers of trail minimum. And the reason for that is that, you want to attract many people from all over the world, and mountain bikers, just like snowboarders and skiers and, other groups of people, like to go in large groups, and they will travel a long way and to go for holidays for, 5 to 6, 8 days to 2 weeks. So you've got to have enough product in place, something really wonderful for people to do that. If you only had 5 or 7 kilometers of trail, people wouldn't be getting in a plane and traveling halfway across the world or across the country to stay for a week. So a destination needs to have a lot of great products. I suppose it's nearly the same as a ski resort. If you look at that, if you had a ski resort up in the snowfields and there was only 1 or 2, slopes or runs, not many people would go there and go back there all the time. So you have to have something in place designed from about 85 kilometers more. The trails need to be sustainable. They have to be suitable for the environment. You can't put there's so many different types of trails you can build. You have to build the right trails in the right place for them to be sustainable and suitable. And that's usually determined in the early design phases. The next line there, we have some numbers, 15, 70, 15, with diverse options. What that is mountain bikers are split up in fairly documented groups. And this is a sort of just a snapshot, really, is 15% beginners, 70% intermediate, and 15% core riders. And if you have a lot of trails for those groups, if you had everything was extremely hard, for technical riding, and most of the trials were like that, you're not going to have a great, successful and sustainable outcome for visitation. You need something for everybody. I always talk about like shopping centers. You go to a large shopping center and you walk in there, and usually 85, 100 stores in a shopping center. There's something for everybody. And it should be the same with trails. When you go somewhere, you may feel like just riding the easy trails, or you want to have some progression and sort of step up for some harder ones. But there has to be a wide range for everybody to have a lot of fun. No forced risk is very important. Trails shouldn't be designed that you're forcing people into a risk that causes injury. Everybody has to feel comfortable on their rating of the rating of the trails, and you don't want to be making people ride something they don't want to. There's a word there also. Quark knuckles is a design specific style of trail, again, that everybody can ride, from a beginner to a pro rider, but they're all on the same trail. It all offers them up a different an experience on the same trail. That's something that's been developed in the last 10 years. It's working really well. And the big one is finish with a smile. Going for a ride, out with all your friends and everything. And, you know, how many people have gone for a ride with some friends and they've taken you up these horrible hills that go forever, and you probably go, well, I'm never going to go for a ride with this person again because this is way too hard. And you know, and then you know, you're out for a few hours, and you think, where are they taking me? And then the last 10 minutes of the ride is just beautiful, and you know, you're rolling down a hill, and you come back into town or back to your car, and there's a pub there and everything, and then you know, you're high-fiving everybody. You're as happy as anything. And you've forgotten about those hours of getting dragged all over the mountains, you know. So you've got to finish with a smile when you finish your ride. It's very important, and that's usually in the major, you know, layout and design. The next slide is a township or a little community where the trailheads are, where the trails are laid out and everything. So you've got to have a lot of pubs and cafes and accommodations, and you know, start with a coffee and finish with a beer. Very important to have all these things in place. The fifth slide is touch on that. Progressive expansion is very important. If you've got a successful destination that's working really well, you're going to have room to expand with some forestry and some stuff around close by, so you can expand. And the final slide, sixth slide, is if you've got all these, you know, trails and a bunch of trails in this destination, it'd be really good to use it for racing also. You can bring a major signature event there every year, but you don't have to change anything. The trails are designed right at the start, and you look at where you can, you know, close down the main street of the town, for instance, and stuff like that. So a lot of wonderful things you can do for, you know, a trail destination. But you put everything into place, it'll be there forever, and people will travel from afar, you know, to come to the destination. So, look, I know we're short on time, so that's my chat for today, and I hope there's a lot of success for the rest of the summit. And thanks for inviting me here.
Hi everyone, I'm Manon Carpenter. I was at another event a month ago where Glenn read out that trail shanty at the start, and hearing him read it out there kind of gave like goosebumps a little bit, kind of hearing someone talking about what they do. And Glenn's obviously been working for a long time at really high level mountain bike destinations, but I think it was interesting seeing a few things of, this idea. I guess they're trying to build places that work for everybody, and are connected with the local communities to where they are as well, how trails link in with everything else that a place can offer. And it's also really exciting. Obviously, we're in Wales today, and everything that mountain biking can offer for Wales is offering right now is really exciting to see. For me, here for the trails, I just wanted to talk about why I'm here today, what trails have done for me, and what I've understand that they do for the wider riding community, and a couple maybe some goals for our trails that I know are going to get touched on later on in more detail, but I just thought I'd outline from my perspective at least, my thoughts on trails. So if you go to the next slide, it's not quite the next slide, but here because of and thanks to the trails. That's for me at least. So why am I standing here today? So 25 years on from me playing around in rock pools, a constant through my life has been mountain bike trails. And I grew up just outside Cardiff, and I was introduced to mountain biking and the outdoors from having trails from the front door that we would just go and ride as a family. And it was just a really great introduction to being outside, appreciating everything that we get from these places. And I was really fortunate to be able to get out from the front door. And I was involved in a family race series, which is where I went on probably the start of my racing career. But the Super Loop, this was probably a 3-hour ride from the house. You can go in different directions, which is really amazing, I think, actually, outside Cardiff, that you can have such adventures. And after school on a Wednesday, we'd go out in a big group, and I'd normally be hanging on the back of a group of much older and fitter people than me. And it was just I think a really amazing thing to be able to do. And looking back, that was the foundation of my career or story in mountain biking so far. Next slide, please. So yeah, a bit about me. So I was a professional mountain biker for, I was on the World Cup circuit for 8 years. 8 years? Yeah. And so yeah, I progressed from a local race series to going to more national races, and then finally onto the international race scene. Really lucky to have support of my family and the opportunities to get to know mountain biking the way I did. And yeah, so highlights of my race career were winning World Championships in 2014. So I won the World Championships and the overall in 1 year, which was very exciting and led me to experience everything that comes with that throughout the racing career. So just to outline a couple of things, can you have next slide? I'm not always that good at talking about my racing career and what it brought me, but I think it does highlight what, having access to a sport like this from a young age has given me. So experiences that I didn't actually even know to dream of. Stood on a podium at Fort William at the World Cup. Very surreal experience. Next slide, please. Representing my country at an event like the World Championships. Next slide, please. Really also surreal experiences of seeing big cutouts of yourself at mountain bike industry events. Also something I never would have expected. Next slide, please. And throughout my career, I was training on the trails that I had close to my home. Yeah, really lucky in Wales to have the resource that we have of recreational mountain bike trails. And this is one of the local mountains, just north of Caerphilly. And I'm with, maybe if you click the next click. Yeah, so Mackin Mountain, this is Obi, Laurie, and Joel. And Obi is doing all sorts of cool things unrelated to mountain biking, but Laurie is now a Red Bull athlete, and he's competing for the top step at the World Cup series. So he is now progressing, and that's the journey that trails have taken him on. And Joel, he grew up in the valley just to the right in Risca, and Joel is now a mechanic on the World Cup circuit. So it's just my own personal anecdote and these guys' personal anecdote, but it shows where it can take you, which is super cool, I think. Next slide, please. And yeah, post-competition, slowed down a bit and really realized what mountain biking gives me and what being in these places outside gives me. The fun you get, the friends, recharge and release in your life. And realize how important it is that we have these opportunities to explore the places we do and why they're so important. Next click, please. And yeah, alongside this, recognizing the challenges that we also have. So the places that we ride in are vulnerable and need looking after and are facing lots of their own challenges. Trails themselves can come and go and access can be quite limited. So I was very lucky where I lived to be introduced the way I was through my family, but not everybody gets that opportunity. And you get things like tensions between different user groups and, as I say, the challenges that our environment faces. Next slide, please. And also realizing what these trails give to entire riding communities. So being able to get outside and being active of all ages, so from young children up to as long as you can still turn the paddles. Confidence building on the top right, a really cool event, getting people together and seeing how stoked it can make you getting out on the trails. And the mental health, I touched on this yesterday. The bottom right is a riding group from Risca. And these guys all have such a strong community. And I've been to a few fundraising events where they are fundraising for mental health charities. And when you hear them speak about it, you realize how important it is for them and what having the community that they've got through riding trails has given them. And then at the bottom, kind of social connections with the community. This is a community trail clean, Trash-Free Trails clean in spring last year, and it's really cool to see the community coming together to look after the places that they all enjoy in all of their different ways. And I think, as Glenn touched on a bit, what it can give to local jobs. You know, all the bike shops that have sprung up and the cafes and pubs that come from that as well, or kind of support the riding communities. Yeah, and yeah, the way of life for so many people. Next slide, please. So, why are we here? Trails is our pathway to everything that I've mentioned. It brings all these benefits and all these amazing things to those of us who enjoy them and those of us who might yet experience them. And we're also here to look after our trails and the places that they're in, the places they take us to, and yeah, as we've got in the bottom right, Trash-Free Trails sign, we exist to protect our trails and the wild spaces they take us to. So yeah, I think that's a nice summary of why we are here. Next slide, please. So I've just got 3 slides now of, I guess, from my perspective, what the goals can be for trails into the future. So we need to be thinking about, and we are working on, responsible access, so supporting communities to effectively look after the trails that they have, and working with all the stakeholders in that area. And we also need a clear framework to be able to do that, and it's really cool to see that emerging at the moment, especially in Wales, really trying to make sure we're looking after trails and the places that they're in when we're using them. Want to foster a culture that cares, which I think Trash-Free Trails is absolutely driving the way in. You know, it can be cool to care, and we want to care about these places because of everything they give us. And, you know, sharing what is responsible access. Everybody does start from a different place, and I think we recognise that. So kind of sharing what we can about how to be responsible in these places. And some quotes from a film. Yeah, what can I do to give back to the trails? Documentary I was involved with last year, looking at how we can help look after trails. Next slide, please. Second goal, to enhance and connect with our natural world. So access provides the opportunity to connect. So you need to be in these spaces to understand them and get to know them and want to look after them. And we can engage ourselves more deeply with these spaces and maybe offer some inspiration to others as well to think about what getting outside can give us. And to figure out how we can leave a positive trace. So here we are doing a mass trail clean with a mountain bike group in South Wales at Barry Sidings, and yeah, kind of building that drive to want to give back and finding all the different ways we have at our disposal to do that. Next slide, please. And then this is kind of a scary slide to put up because it's big questions, and obviously it's bigger than, I say mountain biking, trail running, and hiking, you know, it's bigger than outdoor users, of course. But I think this is going to come up a little bit later on today. How can recreation demand and the presence of people wanting to be in nature drive healthier outdoor spaces? So we know that a lot of our spaces are not as healthy as they could be. And what can our interest in being in these places do to foster a healthy environment? And can we get involved in, you know, volunteer days wanting to look after these places? How can recreation be more sustainable in itself? This is a big question for the outdoor industries, especially. You know, we want better supply chains, you know, better way of making the things that we use, the way we travel. And I was saying to Dom this weekend, Trash-Free Trails approved events, you know, showing the way forward to how to do events and just be outside in a better way. I think one anecdote I know from mountain bike events, at least, I know a lot of the parts that get broken they're made of metal, and often they just get, I think they do get sent to landfill pretty much. And is there a better solution for that? Because we know how much energy it takes to, get these products into what they are in the first place. And then using our voices and the choices that we can make to demand better, which again, that's something we can drive, and we also need help. Help from the companies and organisations to also be able to do this better. So the final slide is basically, thank you for being here for the trails, and I am really looking forward to hearing from the rest of the talks today. This is my perspective as a mountain biker, but I'm really excited to hear all the other talks today that will help us figure out the path forwards to looking after our trails and the places they are in. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks so much, Manon. We've got time for a very short Q&A. If anyone wants to ask Manon anything, from downhill racing to her academic research. It's fine. Any questions?
The big O, David.
I'd like to know about your academic research.
So I guess that's, so I'm a science researcher, so I'm looking for mountainous areas, what's happening beneath fault zones to give us earthquakes so we can better understand the hazard. So I think being in the mountains got me quite interested in how they're there and the process is happening there. I guess Purposeful Adventurer, and hopefully at some point I'm doing a part-time PhD alongside the opportunities I have to think about the places we're in as mountain bikers. So in theory, at some point I might be a doctor.
We have another one. Go in.
Hi. I was wondering, as a pro, when you're traveling around the world and trying to maintain a training program and get to lots of different destinations and stuff, how you can engage with the local trails that you are using, because you kind of have to fly in, fly out and stick on a schedule, and whether there is any how to be a better pro guidance given to pros, and whether maybe there's an opportunity now that it's all being hosted by Discovery to maybe have that sort of thing in future if it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I guess I'd say at the moment it doesn't really, because I haven't competed for the last 5 years, but it is quite in and out and not so much opportunity to engage with the places you're in. But I think, as you said, with Discovery taking over running or streaming of the World Cup series, I know that Enduro World Series is trying more to engage with the communities that look after the trails that they use. So obviously a race event goes in, uses the trails that the local community will have created, and then it leaves again. And there is a drive to, at least in the Enduro World Series, to work with the local communities more. And it would be cool to get athletes more involved. I think there's lots of different ways things can be done better to engage with. I mean, for me, I've been more local community driven now, and that's been amazing for me to see how much is happening at a local space as well. I don't know, lots of questions. We can talk later on.
It's nice. We've got a question from our live feed. And talking of progress, we didn't have a live feed that worked last year anyway, so that feels like progress. Sophie G, thanks for asking your question. Manon, what did you find most interesting or inspiring from making your documentary film?
Yeah, most inspiring is super easy. So I come from a racing background, and there's a lot of passion and motivation that comes from being a racer. But then going around and talking to all these different riding groups that are working in their own community to look after their trails and just make a positive difference in the areas where they live, that was super inspiring. There's so much passion there, and it's being used for, you know, the whole collective experience of mountain biking. And that was the most inspiring for me. And seeing that people are doing it, we now have really good examples of how to get engaged in trail advocacy and management. And that's offering the examples for everyone else to build on and to, yeah, run with that.
Okay, there's definitely questions, but I'm going to pause it because you may have guessed we're already running over. You have to eat your lunch slightly quicker. Yeah, and just stepping in because I've just we forgot to start this at the start. Well, I forgot to say at the start about the culmination of the day. You know, what is our purpose for being here? And I wanted to make sure we spoke about that because Manon's already speaking about it, Glen's speaking about it, Elle's speaking about it, I am. So just know that we have a plan for taking this somewhere, because I think often again as people who spend time in the outdoors, we need to know we're going somewhere. You know, we need to know, and I've got a lot of people who've driven a long way here, and I feel so incredibly grateful to every single person. You know, like my great friend Jill, who's one of our directors, was surprised how far, not everyone's always surprised how far North Wales is, even though she lives in Cornwall, so she shouldn't be surprised that places are surprisingly far away. But yeah, you know, so yeah, I just want to promise you that we're taking this somewhere today. If you're watching, we are, I promise. And also Beth, some of you here last year may have remembered the incredible Beth Breeden and the incredible Matt Kenley, where is he? And the incredible Chloe Parker, who were scribbling and just created the most wondrous looking thing in the background there whenever you spoke. We've actually got we had an amazing North Wales artist called Kyrie Jacks, who was the person I first saw doing graphic recording in the Eden Project in 2016, coming today, but she got COVID 2 days ago. So I was like, Beth, do you fancy doing it? And Beth is now sitting at home with COVID, because she couldn't come, sketching this. So what's going to happen at the end of each session, she's going to send us her sketch, and we'll put up on the screens. Rich will sort it out. But yeah, because for me, that's, I don't know, it was so cool. Maybe it's just a massive attention seeker, seeing that first sketch by Kyrie all those years ago. I was like, whoa, that's amazing. And I just, again, one thing we want to do at Trash Free Trails is to make us and others feel that way, like, whoa, cool, at the same time as doing some good stuff. So just wanted to make sure those two things were said. Now I've started breathing a bit more. Now we got Glen sorted. All right, so another aspect of progress is that we've got a number of people who couldn't make it. We've got a number of people who couldn't make it last couple of minutes. Like, again, my master supervisor, Martin, who many of you met last year, got COVID yesterday, sent me I'm getting lots of WhatsApp messages with, sorry, mate, just like the picture of the COVID test. But we have some people who we knew couldn't come from a while ago, so we asked them to send us a message. We call it our Wish We Were There film. If you were here last year, we saw it. We've made another one, so we will run VT, if that's how you say it. Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Ross.
I'm Julia. We're really sorry we can't be with you at the Trash Free Trails Summit this weekend. We hope you're having a really great time. We're out here working at the Stone King Rally for the week, and yeah, Ross is gonna...
Yeah, we're going to spend the next 6 days travelling from the high Alps down to the Italian coast and picking up any litter or anything that shouldn't be on the trails as we go.
Hope you have a great time, and we'll see you soon, guys.
Take care.
Hi guys, I'm Alistair Humphreys. I'm sorry I can't be at the State of Our Trails Summit this year. I think what you guys at Trash Free Trails are doing is absolutely brilliant. So please have a good time, but keep raising a ruckus, making a noise, tidying up litter, encouraging other people to do the same, and having fun and appreciating and loving our great outdoors. Thanks so much for all that you do, and I hope to catch up with you soon. Cheers, good luck.
Hey up, it's Tom Hill here. Really sorry I can't be with you at the summit, but as you can see, I'm hunting my own summit, having my own purposeful adventures in the Alps at the moment. But yeah, genuinely gutted that I can't be there. Hope you're having an amazing time. Hope you're feeling inspired to take on some new projects to help Trash Free Trails in the future. And yeah, hopefully catch up with everybody soon. Cheers. Bye.
Hey, it's Chris Hall here from the Downtime Podcast. Sorry I can't be with you for your State of the Trails Summit. Really impressed once again with everything you've achieved over the last 12 months. It's been phenomenal to see just how far you've moved things along, the amount of work you've got done and the amount of engagement you're getting from the community. It's absolutely awesome, so massive congratulations on that. I had the pleasure of sitting down with a few of the team at the Tweed Valley EWS a few weeks ago for an upcoming episode of the podcast, and it was amazing to hear about everything you've got planned and all the work that's been going on behind the scenes to improve the riding environment and the environment in general for everyone. So massive congratulations. I hope the summit goes well and hopefully I can make it there next year. Cheers.
Hello from a very wild and windy Isle of Arran. My name's Lucy Wallace. I'm a mountain leader and wildlife guide and I'm based here on the island. I'm really sorry I can't be there. What you do is so important. Keep raising awareness, keep spreading the word, keep telling people about Leave No Trace. Have a fantastic time and keep up the good work. Bye!
Hey everyone, Katie Zafke here. I run the Pay Dirt program, which is Santa Cruz Bicycle's grant program that's all about giving back to cool groups that are doing great things for the trails, which Trash Free Trails is obviously doing. So we're super stoked to be supporting you guys and all the great things that you're doing out there. Stoked that you guys could get together to talk about making even better things happen. Bummed that I can't be there, but I'm looking forward to reading the report. Have a good time. Bye.
The aspect of the weekend I was most looking forward to being part of was the discussion about how we can encourage wider access to the living world and make poetry and art a form of activism. I was considering the idea of positive trace when I started a poem called Trace Track to Track. The first is a foot firm placed, the second a swinging gait, and each etched step thereafter prints a trail to investigate, that words unwind in ebbing lines, and worlds can thrive in form unbound, that the route that follows thought's faint tracks is memory trace to common ground.
Good morning, hello and namaste everyone. This is me Ram Guru from Nepal, a team of Trash Free Trails. So this year on the 4th July, I want to be able to attend State of Our Trail Summit, but I keep what I'm doing and my team, and we keep what we are doing. So guys, we will see you soon and keep enjoying outdoors, protecting outdoors, protecting our trails, keep inspiring lots of people from all around the world, and go and enjoy outdoors, be respectful to our trails, enjoy the trails, and also protect our trails. Keep inspiring, keep loving, keep adventuring, keep going outdoors. Namaste, see you soon.
Awesome, and thanks so much to Tom Laws and the A-Team who put that film together. So, we've mentioned a couple of times what we like to do is keep a record of all of this, so I'm now going to invite you all to be part of our big, noisy team photo. So, Sam Dugan, adventurer, photographer, filmmaker, storyteller extraordinaire, no pressure, is going to get us all moving around and G'd up for a big, noisy group photo.
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, best introduction ever, I suppose. I'm going to get you guys to all stand up and come at the front here. I'm going to take a photo from back there. So get up, stretch your legs, and come and stand by this wonderful sign and setup we've got.
We'll just put the agenda up, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of fun there. Get a bit at the back out.
I feel like we should...
Not in in the middle,
Dom,
though.
like,
Oh, God,
lifted
not
up.
that. Not that. Not in the middle. Missing someone quite important.
Where's Dom gone?
Don't know. Go on, get in front of him. He's nearly on the front of the football. I'll keep talking to him now. Do whatever he's doing. Where is he?
Don't we want a megaphone?
You're an announcer.
Have we got Dom?
Where's Dom?